A very pleasant morning to all my dear children. Welcome back to English Online Class of Sri Gokulam Public School, Guruvayu. How are you all doing, children? I hope you all are doing great. Yes? Okay, children. Let's begin our today's session. Today, let's discuss a very interesting poem, Time Travel, written by Adrian Rumpel. This would be the last lesson of this academic year, and this is the last poem from our second semester Enlightened text. So, children, who is this Adrian Rumpel? Let's know more about our poet.
Adrian Rumpel is an English poet and author of children's books. Some of his famous books are Shadow Dance, Poems of the Night for Young People, and Upright Downfall. So now let's recite the poem once and then we will go for the explanation. Time travel. Strap me in your time machine. Let the motors whir. Switch controls to speed of light. Make my senses blur. Batten down the airlocks. Make all the hatches fast. Blast me through the chronosphere. Ferry me through the past. Take me back 3,000 years. Roll back the centuries. I want to see what Earth was like 2000 year AD. Show me what the world was like before we burnt the trees, killed off all the animals, and dried up all the seas. By Adrian Rumpel.
Children, the title of our poem is Time Travel. What is the idea that you get from the title Time Travel? Is it shows how time passes through all our lives? How time travels fast? No, children, nothing of that sort. It tells us, or the poet wants to convey us, he wants to give us a reminder, he wants to give us a warning. And what is that reminder or warning that he wants to give us, children? He tells us that we have to protect our nature, our surroundings, our environment. Only then we can live in this world. Only then we can live in this planet Earth. So he tells us we have to take necessary actions. We have to take necessary steps as soon as possible if we want to live in this world, if we want to live in this planet Earth. So the speaker, he lives in 5000 CE. CE is the abbreviation of Common Era. It is a short form of Common Era. And it is another name for AD. AD means the years after the birth of Jesus Christ. So he lives in 5000 CE and he lives in a world where there is no vegetation, where there is no greenery, where there is no trees, where there is no animals, where there is no water bodies. All the water bodies have dried up. So he lives in such a world where there is no nature, nothing is there, or no life is there in his world. He lives in a world of machines, in a world of technologies. In the first few lines, we can see that our poet is traveling in a time machine. So what is a time machine, children? Time machine, it is an imaginary machine. There is no such machine like time machine. Okay, and using this time machine, we can travel to the past and we can also travel to the future. So he's using such a time machine, he's using such a machine to travel to the past. He wants to go 3000 years back, that is to 2000 AD. Now he lives in 5000 CE. CE means Common Era. It's a short form of Common Era and it is another name for AD. AD means the years after the birth of Jesus Christ. So he is living in such an year 5000 AD where there is no vegetation, where there is no greenery, where there is no trees, where there is no animals, where there is no birds, where there is no forest, no water bodies like seas, rivers, etc. So he lives in such a world. He lives in a world where there is only technology, where there is only devices, where there is only machines. Okay. So he wants to travel back. And why does he want to travel back? He wants to go back and see the world which has trees, which has plants, which has animals, which has birds, which has forests, which has water bodies, that is full of water. So he wants to go into such a world. That's why he is traveling in a time machine. Okay, and he orders his time machine to strap him. Strap means to tie him using a thin material, and here it is a seat belt. Okay, he orders his time machine to strap him, and he tells the time machine to travel so fast. How fast? At the speed of the light. You all know the light travels faster than anything in this world. So he tells the time machine to travel at the speed of the light, and he tells his motors, the machine, to make the sound whir. The whir is a sound made by machine like fan. When we switch on the fan, in full speed, you can hear that sound, whir sound. So the sounds made by the fan is called whir, and he tells his motors to whir or travel at the speed of the light. Then the speaker of the poem orders the time machine to make his senses blur. To make his senses blur means to make his five senses, maybe his sight, his hearing capacity, his smelling capacity, make all that senses unclear, become less clear, make it blurred. And then he orders his time machine to batten the airlocks. Batten means to lock tightly the rooms in the spacecraft and fasten the hatches. Hatches is the doors of the spacecraft, and fasten means to shut tightly. So he orders his time machine to close all the doors, to close all the rooms tightly, so that we are well prepared to travel at the speed of the light to go back to 3000 years. So he gives such orders to his time machine, and then he tells, blast me through the chronosphere. Chronosphere, it is a layer, it's an imaginary layer. There is no such layer, children. It's just an imaginary layer around our Earth planet, which we have to cross to travel to the past. So we have to cross that layer first, only then we can travel to the past using this time machine. So he orders his time machine to pass through that layer. Then he orders his time machine that he wants to ferry through the past. Ferry means carry from one place to another. Here the poet, he wants to be carried from his present world to the past. Why does he wants to go back? Because he wants to see the world where the trees are not cut down, where the trees are not burnt, where there are still water bodies, where there are water bodies which is full of water, which hasn't dried up. So he wants to see such a world where there are forests, where the forests are not cut down. So he wants to see such a world. He wants to see the world which has trees, which has animals, which has water bodies. So it is in the last 4 lines that we get to know the message of this poem. It is through the last 4 lines the poet conveys the message that we have to protect our nature before everything ends up soon, before the water bodies get dried up, before all the trees are cut down, before the forests are not anymore, before there is no life on this planet. So the main idea, the message of the poem is that we cannot live in a world of technology. People go on inventing new machines, new technologies, new devices, but that is not enough. We cannot live with machines. We cannot be robots. If we want to live on this earth, we need to have this nature. We need to protect this nature. So this is a message that our poet wants to convey through this poem, through this simple poem, but with a strong message. This is a simple and a short poem, but with a strong message. I hope you received this message. So children, read the poem again. Do download the notes that are attached. Do attempt the test. So shall we wind up the session? Yes. It's time to conclude our session here. See you in the next session.